everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Shanita White, and I will serve as the moderator for today's webinar. There are a few housekeeping items I need to review before we get started. As an attendee, you are automatically muted upon entry. This will keep your audio clean for everyone listening in. I encourage you to add your questions through the Q&A function at any time during this webinar. One of our team members will be monitoring those throughout the event. We will start today's webinar with panel introductions, and then I'll be asking our panelists your questions. Some of those that are going to come in live during the webinar, as well as some of those that you've already previously submitted to us. We will do our best to get to as many questions as possible. We will also be recording this webinar and will post it to our website in the coming days. And now, please allow me to have our distinguished panel to introduce themselves, and I'll call their name and then have them to tell you just a little bit about what they do in their role at St. Thomas. So I'll start first with Kristina. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Kristina Pappas and I am a current student here at St. Thomas. I'm a senior. I am studying business communication and then minoring in psychology. So if you have any questions for me throughout this webinar, just that current student perspective, I would be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Kristina. And Paola.
Hello, my name is Paola Ermentrout. I am the Director of Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, and I am also a professor of Spanish at the Modern and Classical Languages Department. You can ask me questions about those two disciplines and also on internships, because our students in my program are required to take an internship.
Perfect. And Kara.
Hi, I'm Kara Anthony. I'm a professor in the Theology Department. I also advise first-year students in their academic life. I have been a member of a living learning community, so that's an opportunity that y'all have that I could also speak about.
Kevin?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Tyson. I'm a professor of geology in the Department of Earth, Environment, and Society. So I can absolutely talk to you guys about geology, environmental science, which I teach a fair amount in, and other components of our program like environmental studies.
Okay. Elyse.
Hi, I'm Elyse Amel, and I'm a professor in the psychology department. I also chair the Department of Earth, Environment, and Society, so I can also talk about aspects of that program. We have majors and minors in geology, geography, environmental science, environmental studies, and a sustainability minor, which I'm really excited about.
Perfect, thank you. And Olga?
Hi everyone, my name is Olga Herrera and I am a professor in the Department of English. This is my 11th year here. I'm also the chair of the Department of English and Communication Studies, and I'm happy to answer any questions about those two areas. I also do first year advising, so please feel free to ask me questions about advising in the core curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. And Leslie?
Hi everybody, I'm Leslie Sabora. I'm an associate professor in the Health and Exercise Science Department, and I'm also a co-director of the first year experience. And so happy and excited to answer any questions that you have about the first year experience, including living learning communities and those kinds of things. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you for all of the families out there joining us today. So I don't see any questions that have come in through the live session, so please do not hesitate to post your questions here. I would be happy to answer them. But I will start off with a question that I think a lot of you might have on your minds, and that is, what classes do freshmen typically take in their first year? I'm actually going to go to Kristina from a student's perspective and see what you take and what you took and what your other classmates have taken in their first year.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I ended up taking a lot of the core curriculum my first year at St. Thomas, and that was mainly because I wasn't too sure on what I wanted to major in yet. So I did that, and a lot of my friends did that as well. So I took geology and English and theology, and I'm blanking since it's been a while ago, but I think the other one was math. So it was a semester full of just core curriculum, and it really was, it helped me easily transition into college because I was used to those types of subjects from high school. But yeah, so those are the courses I took my first year, and you don't have to take those specific ones. You can really customize your schedule, which is nice, but I would really recommend taking some core curriculum as a first year student just to easily transition and get a feel for the classroom environment.
Perfect. Kara, is there anything that you wanted to add, would you like to add to that response about classes in the first year?
I would just echo a lot of Kristina's experience. If a student has an idea of something that, if you have an idea of something that you would like to major in, you can always try a class in that area. And then along with a few of the general requirements that will also give you a chance to explore and learn about fields that maybe you don't know about.
Perfect, thank you. I think the next question I'll go to, I will have this one go to Paula. What are all the languages offered at St. Thomas?
Oh, we have many languages, and it's very exciting. Our main languages are German, Spanish, French, and Italian, and Spanish, of course, Spanish being the biggest one, the biggest section. But we also offer Japanese, and we have offered in the past Irish Gaelic. So some languages come, other go, but those are the ones that we always offer. And there's usually a lot of activities and clubs and conversation groups that the students organize themselves. And so that is a really nice part of the culture of languages at St. Thomas.
Perfect, thank you. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in about LLCs and TBLCs. So I think I'll ask some of those questions to Dr. Sabora to see what she has to talk about with that. I see some questions about what's the difference between an LLC and a TBLC. So maybe we'll start with that.
Yeah, so living learning communities and theme-based learning communities will be part of your first year experience. And so all Tommies, when they first come to campus, will take a Foundations for College Success course, and then they'll get to choose between a living learning community, or they'll get to choose a theme-based learning community. And a living learning community is one in which you get to choose a community that's in your academic area of interest, and you get to start learning on a path with other students that share the same interest, and you live together in a residential community in our residence halls. And so it gives you an opportunity to learn together with students who have a similar interest, and also develop a really nice connection with the faculty member that teaches that course. So that's one of your options. The other option is a theme-based learning community. And so we have 5 themes that we're offering in the fall. They're broad mission-based themes, and you can choose one of those themes, and then you'll also choose 2 courses that are a part of that theme, and you'll be participating in activities on campus that help you to explore that theme with other students that are studying in the theme. And the 2 courses that you will take are part of your core curriculum or a major interest or part of your enhanced curriculum. So they're a part of your existing academic program as you come onto campus. And they're a great way to explore this theme through a couple of disciplinary lenses with other students.
Leslie, can you maybe tell us the 5 themes?
Sure, absolutely. So we've got 5 really fantastic themes that we're excited about. So environmental sustainability for the common good, social justice for the common good, change making for the common good, human well-being for the common good, and then also cultural and social transformation for the common good.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you on the hook one more time. Don't mute yourself yet. I have one more for you. If I'm doing an LLC, can my roommate be in a TBLC? That may be, I don't know, more of a residential, residence hall kind of question, but wonder if you had any insights on that one. Well,
ideally, we have a lot of our students that are in the living learning community are living together as a common residential community. You might be also taking a theme-based course, and so you're going to be exposed to that as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I will ask this question to Kevin. What is a J-term?
So St. Thomas has, among our offerings, we are one of the only schools, I think, in the region that's left that offers J-terms. I think a lot of the other schools that used to have this have kind of moved on, but it gives us an opportunity for you to take a focused course over the 4 weeks of January, where you really focus in on that subject. And it could be anything from taking an introductory level math course on campus to taking a course abroad. A lot of students take advantage of study abroad opportunities during January. So you could, for example, go to someplace like Central America over January and learn about biology in Costa Rica, as some of our students do. So it's a short-term program where you can earn the 4 credits that you would normally during a course, and really focus in on that.
Perfect, thank you. I'll actually ask this next question to Olga. How large are the class sizes? And it's asking about the core, but can you just talk about maybe class sizes in general at St. Thomas?
Sure, Shanita, I'd love to talk about that. I think that this is something that is really special about the University of St. Thomas, is that our class sizes are pretty intimate. I think that the typical class size, at least in the English department, I would say across other departments, is about 20 students, maybe a little smaller, a little bit larger, depending on the subject and the purpose of the class. So if you're taking a creative writing class in our department, for example, that will be about 15 students. And so we like to think about the proportion there to help make sure that students get the attention that they should be getting from their instructors and from each other. You know, I think value student and faculty interaction and discussion and collaboration. So I think that that is one of the real benefits of coming to St. Thomas, is having that interaction with your peers and with your teachers.
Perfect, thank you. This next question I'll go to Elyse for. This is really about, questions about discernment. So it says, I'm not entirely sure what degree I wish to major in. I'm thinking about something in engineering. What do you do to help students to find their passion and to pick their major? So kind of how should they approach that discernment, that decision-making process, and kind of, you know, how do we help them with that as faculty and as advisors and things like that?
Great question. So there are lots of things you can do to try and figure out what you want to do. I think the benefit of being at a school that has a core liberal arts focus is, you know, the diversity of courses that you take in your first couple years really allows you to think broadly about what your opportunities are. But the classroom isn't the only place where you can learn that. Faculty generally have an open door policy, and online even there's sort of an open Zoom policy where you can, you know, reach a faculty member through office hours or through email, and make an appointment and chat about, you know, everything they know about what students do who graduate with a certain major, and all the different combinations that are possible between majors and minors. And as you get farther into an area where you think you're interested, there are opportunities to do research and internships and, you know, all kinds of ways to sort of test drive some of the different areas where you could, you know, pursue your interests.
Perfect, thank you. The next question will be for Kara. What courses qualify for the integrations in the humanities core?
So integrations in the humanities is an area where you'll take a course in something like English or theology or philosophy. And the integrations piece is that it will bring in either a dialogue with another discipline or with a subject that requires thought from multiple perspectives. So we really are starting to see a lot of courses, the sky's the limit almost, if it has anything to do with the humanities. So those things dealing with the human person and the way humans function. and asking the big questions about being a human, that's across about 10 different departments. And we're seeing courses in every single one of those departments being offered on all kinds of subjects, from the human person and technology to the human person and the environment. You name it, there's probably a course for it.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question is for Kristina. So what type of internships have you had, Kristina, or maybe some of your peers as a business communications major?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually obtained an internship at St. Thomas in the admissions office. So I received that internship my junior year, and then it was a full-time internship, and then I did it again for a second year. But something that St. Thomas allows us to do is attend the Job and Internships Fair, which is at the Convention Center downtown. And basically just a bunch of employers come to this one spot. You can go meet a bunch of people, and it's for the private colleges in Minnesota. So students from these private colleges around the area can go and learn about these opportunities. But something that St. Thomas also does is bring in a lot of these employers right on campus to interview in our Career Development Center. So if you don't have a way of getting downtown, there's a very high chance that employers will be on campus to interview you. So our Career Development Center does a great job of connecting students to employers, and you can meet with them, like drop-in appointments. They do a variety of things. So that's a really great tool and resource that I've used.
Okay. So I'm actually seeing some discipline-specific questions. So I'm going to kind of go to our panelists in those different disciplines. And a couple that I'm seeing, I think will go to Leslie. So I'll kind of do a two-part. They're kind of similar in nature. They're looking at health science and exercise science, and wanting to know what would be a good class to add for a first-year student. And similarly, is the degree planning guide for the exercise science major a good thing to base my schedule off of? So what classes as freshmen, and is the guide that they may find online a good source that they can use?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. And so for students that are interested in majoring in health sciences, some of the very first courses that I think would be helpful for them to take could be courses within the department. So for example, if you're interested in majoring in exercise science, I think a great first course to take would be the Intro to Exercise Science course. That will give you a broader understanding of the field and careers in the field. And a little bit closer look at some of the more detailed aspects of exercise science. But I also think many of the students that major in exercise science, as an example, are interested in pursuing graduate degrees at some point in their future. And so taking courses in biology and in chemistry and in psychology, and also adding some of your core courses are some really important courses to help give you a baseline and a foundation for your future study in exercise science.
Thank you. And this is actually one that was sent in through registration, but it's a course specific one that I think Olga would be great to answer. And the question asks, if English is a harder subject for the student, can the student take or avoid English the first semester? How will that impact English requirements down the road?
Okay, thank you. I hope I'm understanding the question, but what I will say is that the core course in the area of English is English 121. Students who come in with a placement that indicates they can work at a higher level, you're looking for English 190. So that's advanced critical thinking and writing. And I understand if the person asking this question is worried about possibly their writing abilities or other kinds of abilities in English that would make it harder for them. But I would say that it's a great introductory class. As Kristina was saying, it's one of the classes that you would probably normally be taking in the core in your first or second year. Unless you transfer in a course that will be equivalent to our course, you won't be able to avoid it. But I will say that I think students really enjoy our classes. We have those really intimate learning environments. And our instructors are really dedicated to helping students learn how to write. You know, we have a lot of office hours. We schedule conferences with our students regularly to talk about their papers. And I think that students taking our courses find that they've really enjoyed the experience, enjoyed the readings, and look forward to, you know, taking other courses in English or even minoring in English if, you know, if you've got a different kind of major in mind. So I hope that answers the question. I'm happy to talk more about that if anyone's interested.
Thank you. Now I see a lot of questions through the Q&A about ASL. So I'm thinking Paula may be able to help with that maybe. If they're asking, I see, I've taken 2 years of ASL in high school. Will that satisfy the language requirements? And yeah, and then I see, do you offer ASL? I see a couple of questions kind of around that.
So, okay, yes, it does. It does fulfill language requirements. However, we're not right now offering it through St. Thomas, but we do partner with other colleges in the area, and you can take or, you know, follow if you want to take another class. Let's say you took one in high school, you want to take another one. We do that through St. Kate's or other colleges in the area. However, we are developing in the near future our own courses because of the student increased demand in that. So we're super excited that you're going to see that next year or the following for sure happening at St. Thomas. So
perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The next question is for Kara, and this one is a general question. Can you describe all of the core curriculum requirements a bit more?
Well, it might help us at this point if Abby can pull up a little chart for us to look at a very basic graphic of the new curriculum. So the core curriculum, it varies from, I think, about 47 to 54 credits, depending on the language that a student brings in with them. But there's 9 areas where students will take courses. So you see on your screen now that there's a core curriculum, and that's 45 to 57 credits, depending on the language that a student brings in. But the areas that students take courses in that core are language, math, natural science, philosophy, theology, English, integrations in the humanities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What am I blanking on? Mathematics. I have math, natural science. Oh, social science. 1, 2. What am I missing, panel?
Diversity and inclusion?
No, I'm talking about the core areas like language, math, natural science, philosophy, theology, English, integrations in the humanities, social science.
History.
History. There's one other.
Art?
Right, art. So those are the 9 areas. And then there are, within the core, there are themed concepts that can attach to some of those in diversity, inclusion, and social justice, in global perspectives, in writing across the curriculum. So that's just a brief rundown of the areas that are included in the core, and I'll pause there because there might be follow-up questions, but I think that's enough for now.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Abby. And maybe I'll go back to Kevin, since you kind of have the J term. I'll throw some J term things at you your way. Do J term classes, I think you may know, cost more, or are the costs included in the semester cost?
Yeah, that's a great question. If it's a course that's on campus, it's just rolled into your regular tuition. If it is a course that's off campus, the cost is variable depending on where you're traveling. So for example, most Januaries I teach a field course in Nevada, a field geology course. And because we're going to Nevada and not Italy, students save some money on their travel costs for going to that location. Now, if you're going to New Zealand, of course, you're going to have higher flight costs and what have you. So there's some variability depending on where you're traveling. But yes, for the on-campus courses, it's built into the tuition.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll go to Kristina now. And do classes meet every day?
Great question. So in my experience, I've never had like a day, like 2 days back to back where I'm taking the same course. A lot of our courses are Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. Some are just on Tuesday, Thursdays. Some are just on Monday, Wednesdays. And then we also have classes where it's like just Monday nights or just one night throughout the week. So you are able to build your own schedule, which is really nice in college, and especially when you may be working, you need to have a flexible schedule. So for example, this semester now, I'm taking 2 night classes. So you meet once a week for like 3.5 hours, and then you get all the material that you need for that week. And then that opened up my schedule for a lot more work opportunities and other things like that. So that's a really great thing about going to college, gaining that independence. You get to really play around with your schedule, and it's kind of liberating in a way. It's fun.
And I'm going to stick with you, Kristina, so don't go on mute. One more question. For a business major, what is the best study abroad program that St. Thomas offers? Can you talk about maybe some of the study abroad options for business students?
Yeah, we have one opportunity that comes to mind right away. It's our London business semester. I personally never went, but it takes place in the fall in London, and all business students, they take those like core business courses. So every business student would have to take like a marketing, an accounting, a finance, a management. So you would take those core business courses with the students on this abroad trip. I just had a coworker who came back from it in January. She was there in the fall and said it was just a blast. So that's definitely the most popular one. Or you can do other opportunities, semester-long programs to cover that core curriculum that we've been talking about in this webinar. I took a J-term abroad in Spain and Morocco to fulfill a theology requirement. It was called Arab and Jewish Influences in Spain and Morocco. So just because you are like a business major or maybe an engineering major, you don't have to go abroad and only take those courses. You can go abroad and take like the core curriculum. So you could take like an English or philosophy, things like that. So.
Perfect, thank you. Elyse, I will ask you this next question. It's a general one. As faculty, do you have office hours available?
Yes, I think every faculty member actually has several office hours that are posted on their door that they offer every week. Most faculty are also very responsive to students who have scheduling issues with their office hours, so that you can coordinate a time and a day that works for both of you. So it really is something that we love to do. It's an opportunity to meet outside of class without necessarily a tight agenda or a specific set of things we have to cover. So faculty talk to students about their current coursework, about their future coursework, about their career interests, or opportunities that they're seeking. We talk about research, and I'm happy to talk more about research opportunities if anybody's interested in that.
Thank you. And this one's for Kara. How many theology courses are needed to graduate? Does it matter when you take them? And can you do that as a freshman?
I think it's a great option to take a theology course as a first-year student. And in the curriculum that we have now, students will take a total of 12 credits in philosophy and theology combined. So what that means at this time is that a student definitely takes one theology class, one philosophy class, And then for a third class, they can take either a philosophy or a theology. And that's a really great thing to do right away. And it's also a nice thing to sprinkle through your studies, because you'll be a somewhat different person by the time you graduate. And taking one of those courses towards the end of your time at St. Thomas can be a really great way to get the big picture on your studies. So I recommend kind of sprinkling them through a person's time at St. Thomas.
Perfect, thank you. So I'm trying to make sure I give the right person the right questions. I'm trying to like consolidate some of the ones that I'm seeing that are coming through. And I actually can maybe answer one. There's a couple that I'm seeing about the number of credits needed to graduate, and that's 129. And so there's a few of those questions kind of coming through. And this one, I'll go back to Kevin. I talked a little bit about how many times a week the classes meet, but how long are the classes, our class sessions?
Yeah, so there are really two different weekly schedules that are going on at St. Thomas. There's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, where a typical lecture period is going to be 65 minutes, so just over an hour. So each of those days, yeah, 65 minutes. Then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, your classes are a little longer, but they're only over those 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they're an hour and 40 minutes is the standard. And then for lab courses like I teach, labs can vary. If you're in an introductory geology course, you might have just a 2-hour lab, whereas some of the chemistry and biology courses at the upper level, you know, you're up to 4-hour labs in some cases in those courses as well.
Perfect, thank you. I do see some questions. They're talking about schedules and planning your courses as you're coming to St. Thomas in the fall. And I will probably take a stab at some of those because other panelists may not have all the information about how that's coming together. Well, typically, last year, students were able to create their own schedules. This year, because of this environment that we're in, our academic counselors are going to prepare those schedules for you. You'll be able to create a course preference form that describes the different classes that you're interested in. And you'll also be able to go in through Murphy Online, which is a system that you'll learn and get very familiar with at St. Thomas, and create plans. You can create plan A, plan B, plan C of different courses you would want to take. And then after you create your plans, you'll have an academic counselor and a faculty registration helper who will go and create those plans for you, your schedule, and then communicate those for you. But this is a solution that's a temporary solution to get us through the current situation that we're in. It is not always, you know, that case that we would prepare your plan for you. You know, you would kind of do it on your own. So this is kind of a special circumstance that we're going to do this in. So hopefully, and you'll have a counselor that'll help you along the way if you have any questions. Okay, so now I think we may need to go back to Leslie. I'm seeing some more questions about LLCs and TBLCs. So I see questions about, aren't students deciding on, like, will a student have to decide on that before they come in and make those decisions earlier? I'm worried about being in a TBLC. It seems as though the LLC puts you at an advantage for taking specific courses. Does it really affect my progress, whether I choose a TBLC or an LLC? Let's start with that one.
Yeah, I think those are all great questions. And I think choosing an LLC or a TBLC is your personal preference and what you're interested in. So if you're interested in exploring one of those 5 themes that I talked about in your core courses or even in some of your major courses, that's a fantastic option for you. I think it gives you some flexibility to explore different courses in the core and explore where your interests are and where some of your passions might lie that you might not even know about yet. And a living learning community is also a fantastic option. And both of them will keep you on in your academic progress either way. And so they're both great options, and they're a personal choice for you. So some of you may have already filled out a housing preference form, and that's a way for us to start understanding where your interest is and whether or not you're interested in being part of a living learning community. So you might have already seen some information about that. So with that form, we're able to help understand what those preferences are, and if you're interested in being part of a living learning community, so we can start making some of those plans ahead of time for you.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll actually go to two people on this. So I'll start with Olga, maybe on this one, and then I'll ask Kristina to chime in in terms of what services she's taken advantage of. So the question is, what kind of tutoring or academic guidance is available on campus? And then I'll ask Kristina kind of which ones have you kind of taken advantage of and actually, popped in to, see how it goes with tutoring. So Olga, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, because I'm the chair of English, I can tell you that we have a wonderful Center for Writing, which is open to every student. Your fees are going into paying for these services. So what we like to tell students is, please take advantage of these services because they're already a part of your of what you're paying to go to St. Thomas. And when you go, you can bring in any assignment at any stage, right? From the initial assignment prompt to brainstorming to, outlining, writing it. Maybe, once you're done, you can have someone go in and have a look at it, give you suggestions for development. The thing that the consultants don't do is to actually edit your work for you, but they give you great help in developing your strengths as a writer. So that's a really great reason to go to the Center for Writing. I do know that departments offer tutors of their own, so maybe other folks can also speak to the math tutoring services that we have available. I think theology has tutoring as well. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Kristina so that Kristina can speak about her experiences here.
Yeah, so I did use the Writing Center in my time here. I actually went to the Writing Center for a scholarship essay, so it wasn't technically like a school essay, but that's the beautiful thing about the Writing Center. You can go there for various reasons. So I went and one of the tutors helped me kind of brainstorm what I wanted to write about. I also used the MARC. So the MARC is the mathematics tutoring center. It's the largest tutoring center on campus. And as someone who's never been really a math person, I went to the MARC literally every day of my sophomore year, and they helped me immensely. They are all basically what you can do is just drop in, just start doing your homework, and then raise your hand if you have a question. And all of the tutors are current students as well. So it's really easy to get to know them and talk to them. I also I went a lot to like the accounting tutors and the finance tutors since I'm a business major. So the business major has their own tutors, but then also I did go to some philosophy tutors as well. So like Olga was saying, just a lot of tutors on campus for each department, and it's really great, especially when maybe your professor is busy at the time or something like that. You can drop into these tutors and they are a great help.
And I see that we have psychology tutoring and we have languages. For the languages, we have our tutors there as well. But yes, there's lots of help. And also for any, the Center for Student Achievement is another great spot to go to. And our STEM study groups also get together, and we have math placement tutors as well in the Center for Student Achievement. So there's lots of resources. Don't feel as if you have to struggle. If you have questions about course content, there's a lot of information, a lot of people who are ready to help. And I'm going to actually go back to Paula. There's a lot of language questions I'm kind of seeing popping up. So you mentioned earlier testing out of the languages. What does that actually mean to test out?
Yes, so what it means is that you get to an intermediate level. Let's say you took some courses in high school, let's say Spanish. You took Spanish for several years in high school, or sometimes even from middle school. So you can come into St. Thomas and you take a placement test. And if you reach a certain level, then that language requirement is fulfilled. meaning you don't need to take more language classes. But many times what happens is that a student that has already, taken several courses of Spanish in high school, then they see this opportunity as an opportunity to take probably like a more advanced class in Spanish. So you can still take other classes in our department, but that basic requirement is fulfilled. We have had also the heritage learners. For instance, we have had students that take they have taken a language, let's say Spanish, but in their families there is spoken at home Arabic, so they can take also another language with us, Arabic, let's say, in our department. So you can test to that level, but a lot of students that are already interested in languages tend to continue. That is the situation.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. And I think some of the other ones are, you kind of alluded to it. So someone asked if I know Vietnamese, can that fulfill my language requirement? Is that acceptable?
Yes, you have to, but there are some levels that we have to test. So you need to talk, to get in touch with our chair as soon as possible, and they can make arrangements for those assessments. So we can see if that would fulfill, or not, the language requirements. And I have to brag, when we were talking about tutors, we have Fulbright scholars as tutors in our department who are native speakers that are visiting for a year the university and helping students. So we have had tutors from Italy, from France, from Spain, from Argentina, Venezuela right now. So it's very diverse and very vibrant. So students really get into languages. We're a big department. It's very fun.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm wondering if, I don't know if Kevin, if you can do this one, or C, or maybe Kara, we'll see which one may be more comfortable. This is about labs and science. So can you talk about science and the lab requirement? Is that one okay for you? Okay.
Yeah, and it's gonna depend on the major, but if you're talking about just for the core, I think that's what you're talking about, Shanita. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the new requirement is that you're gonna need to take at least one science course, so a science course with a lab component to it, and also one math course. And yes, I think that's the new curriculum.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And Kara, I don't know if you have anything additional to add to that. If not, I'll go to another question for you.
I think you can go to another question.
Okay. And this is actually, I think maybe just a little bit of an explanation. The question reads, can credits from the core curriculum count towards your major as well? So I think we need a little discussion about the difference between a core and major courses to answer that one.
So the core curriculum are courses that every student at St. Thomas takes regardless of their major. And then, of course, students select an area of interest that you have for your major area that gives you depth in one subject. And yes, those courses can double up. So for example, if you are a biology major, you're going to be taking a lot of science labs. One of those counts for your core. You do not have to take yet another, right? So the core can overlap with your major in every case. Every major has something that overlaps with the core.
Okay, thank you. And I see a couple of questions that I'm going to ask Elyse to try to tackle here. They're regarding research opportunities. So one is a general, can you talk more about research opportunities? And then one is a little bit more specific. It says, my son is a health and science major, which I know Dr. Sabora can talk to that too. What research opportunities will be available? Tell me more, but it was addressed to you, Elyse. So maybe just talk about research opportunities in general, and then Leslie, if you want to chime in with anything, you can.
Yeah, great. Fantastic question. So any student can get involved with research opportunities on campus. I would recommend as a first-year student that you start investigating and maybe sitting in on some research meetings in an area that appeals to you so you can learn more about it. You can slowly take on more and more responsibility, and eventually our hope is that you do your own research and we can just sort of be the the assistant on your research as opposed to, you know, students always being an assistant on ours. We do a lot of research collaboration. There's a lot of financial support for students to do research. So students can apply for a competitive summer grant on campus and work with a faculty member of choice. And students can typically stay on campus during the summer to work on those projects. So you're paid full time to do research. So there are lots of opportunities. There's an Ignite program. It's new. It's for students who've never even considered research before and don't have any idea what it is. You can work with a faculty member sort of at the initial steps of doing research. And then, like I said, you can get more and more involved over time. And every fall, there is a poster session on campus where students from all disciplines around campus get to display the research that they've been working on. And it's really a fabulous example of what most professional scholars do when they share the research with others.
Perfect, thank you. And did you have anything to add, Leslie, about the exercise science research opportunities?
Sure, I'll just echo a little bit of what Dr. Amel is saying, that I think as a first-year student, as you're incoming, if you're interested in doing research, make sure to express that to your advisor and to your instructors in your department. And many of our programs are infused with research throughout the curriculum. So there's research opportunities within the courses that you take, in addition to the research opportunities that Dr. Amel was talking about. We have a really wonderful undergraduate research opportunities program for students to collaborate with a faculty member to do research. And it's a super fun way, and it's a really exciting way to learn a little bit more, actually learn a lot more about an area that you're interested in, and work alongside your fellow students and work alongside a faculty member. So I highly encourage it. And at St. Thomas, there are just a plethora of opportunities for you.
Can I just add quickly that
Sure.
there are a variety of types of research grants that you can apply for that include community-based research. So you can go out and work with a community partner. There's a Sustainability Scholars Program. There's Young Scholars. There's an Excel program for students from historically underrepresented groups. So there's really just a lot of opportunity.
Perfect, thank you all so much. That's great. And there's a couple other things that came in through the chat about other research opportunities that are out there. One place that you can definitely go to find out is Europe, R-O-U-R-O-P. If you kind of put that into St. Thomas, you'll see a lot of the opportunities pop up there. The next question is for Kristina, and I had it on my screen and then some other ones popped in. Okay, I found it. Kristina, as a senior, what was your typical average number of credits that you would take during any semester? And then maybe I can, then they ask, is there an additional cost if you take more than 18? If you don't want to answer that, then I can answer that one. But typically, how many courses did you take, credits did you take per semester?
Yeah, so I came in as a first-year student with 0 credits from high school. So I ended up taking 16 credits every semester. So that's 4 courses every semester. And then I took one J-term course that was the J-term abroad. So that's what I always did. A lot of my friends sometimes did 3 courses per semester, especially the ones that came in with credits. Then I also have friends who are taking 5 courses right now, but I was always 16 credits up until the end. So that's just what I'm used to. But I don't know if you want to take on the financial.
Yeah, and thank you. And the second part of the question asked, I lost it. Oh, is there an additional cost if students take more than 18 credits per semester? So yes, we're on a banded tuition. So 12 to 18 credits is a flat rate. Anything above 18 credits, there's a $1,500 flat non-refundable fee that you would take, that you would have to incur if you go over 18 credits. Okay. And another question that was kind of related to this, that I saw a little bit earlier, Kristina, was, do you know students who've taken like J-term and summer courses to expedite their graduation, to kind of get done a little bit quicker?
Yeah, that's actually what my roommate did. So she graduated this past December, and how she did that was taking I believe she took 2 courses every summer. So every summer we had like 2 summer sessions. So she took the first part of the summer, 1 course, the second part of the summer, another course. And she did that, I believe, for every summer she was attending St. Thomas. I don't remember how many credits she came in with, but that really helped her. So summer courses and J-term courses, if you take those, that can definitely help you with graduating early.
Perfect, thank you. And this one, I had lost one of my questions. Okay, I'm back. Maybe Kristina, you can come back to this one too. Can you comment on academic life versus student life?
Sure.
Is there a balance? Is that balance evenly balanced, or is academic kind of like, trumping the other stuff?
Well, I always answer this with college is what you make of it. So if, you're ready to get a 4.0 in college, the academics will probably, the academics should always be important and, above that, or, important to you. Sorry for rambling, but I've always had I've had it really easy with balancing. And I learned that right away because I was able to get a job on campus my first year. So learning about time management and learning how to balance 4 courses, working part-time, homework, social life, family time, I had to do that really fast. So it was tough in the beginning, especially just because your schedule changes so much from high school. But I just think if you stay on top of it and you really make it a point to, figure out how you're going to succeed, if you need to spend more time than the average person on your academics to get a good grade in the course, that's something you're going to have to do, and maybe refrain from some social things. I know plenty of times where I had to do that, stay in and study one night. But it's really just what you make of it. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you. And this is kind of a general professor-esque question. So I don't know if I'll go to Olga or I haven't gone to Kara maybe in a minute, or I don't know who would maybe take this one. But how do students get notified about their grades?
I can answer that. So there's a couple of different mechanisms. The most official one is through our Murphy online system, which is a record of all your studies and your grades. And you can log into that anytime and see your historic grades, the grades you've already earned. We also post midterm grades, which are not official and are not permanent, but they give you a check-in at the middle of the semester that allows you to see how you're doing in a course. So that's the most formal way that you know what your grades are. Another way that many professors use is we have online learning platforms for every single course in a platform called Canvas. And if your professor is using Canvas, you can see your grades posted in almost real time. As soon as your professor has finished grading an online assignment, they will post the grade, you will see it, and Canvas will show you your cumulative grade in that class.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to try to slip in a couple more here before we run out of time. I'm going to go in really fast and see. I'll go Olga for this one. Would it be smart for students to take summer classes from St. Thomas? What are the benefits of taking a summer class?
That's a great question. And I think that, the opportunity to take courses during summer and J-term, I think Kristina's talked about that quite a bit, and I think it can be an advantage. We have a summer session 1 and a summer session 2, so you can either elect to take a course earlier in the summer or later in the summer. These courses are not quite as intense as the J-term. They're spread out a little bit more, but I think it's a great opportunity to get in some extra requirements if you wanted to create time somewhere else in your schedule. We have a lot of online options as well. So in English, I know that this coming summer we're offering all of our courses this summer are online, and they usually we usually max out on enrollment in those. So we know that those are popular options for students. But I just think that if that's something that you're thinking about, I think it can be a really great way to, get a class taken care of and still have some time during the summer to do something fun.
Perfect. Well, that'll be all of the time that we have for the questions. I would like to thank all of our panelists for taking time out of their schedules. I know this is hectic. We're getting close to final exam, so you all have a lot to do, and Kristina is preparing for finals. So I want to thank you for your time. We have here on the screen a few more events that are happening that you still have time to sign up for. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow, we have a Student Life and Support Services webinar happening. Thursday, Ask Me Anything student panel and a Parents at St. Thomas webinar is going to happen as well. And then Friday, we have Tommy Talk. So you still have time to sign up for these events. So if they seem interesting to you, please do sign up and join us to ask more questions and to learn more about St. Thomas. And if you have any additional questions, here's the contact information for our admissions staff, as well as for our financial aid office. Please don't hesitate to shoot these individuals a message if you have any specific questions about, you know, anything that maybe we didn't answer today, or any questions that you have about your particular situation. And I just would like to thank you all for joining us. We cannot wait to have you all on campus at St. Thomas, whether it's face-to-face or virtually. We really don't know what things are going to be right now, but we look forward to meeting all of you in the future. And thank you again, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you.